Senate. This is a special sitting convened by the Gazette Notice number 8512, informing all senators of this particular special sitting, with Friday 2:30 in the PM being the time allocated or appointed for this particular sitting. And this is a live broadcast that is streaming live from the Senate chambers, as you can see on your screens, a broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. A warm welcome to you, and we are glad that you have managed to join us for this special sitting as the members of the 47 counties as well as nominated senators convene for this special sitting. What you're currently seeing on your screens, that is the Senate chambers. Members will be walking in or making their way into the chambers. Then later, the Speaker's procession will follow at around 2:30, being the time that is allocated for the sitting. Now, this is a special sitting of the Senate. You will recall that the Senate commenced its short recess on the 13th of June. However, due to businesses that are of urgency or matters of urgency, the Senate, with the concurrence of the leaders of the Senate majority side as well as the support of the requisite number of senators, this day has been agreed upon or was resolved to be set aside for the senators to yet again convene and consider a number of business. The business is being considered at the Senate chambers, and some of the business that are being considered include the Equalization Fund, Appropriation Bill, a bill originating from the Senate. This is a bill that is sponsored by the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, Honorable Ali Roba, who is also the Senator for Mandera County. And this is a bill that seeks to provide for payments out of Equalization Fund. This is a fund that seeks to facilitate the provision of basic services, including water, roads, health facilities, and electricity to marginalized areas to the extent necessary to bring the quality of those services in those areas to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the nation so far as possible. These are bills, so this is a bill that is coming up for first reading. Remember, the financial year 2024-2025 is coming to a close, so these three bills that are coming up for first reading, which is part of the business that will be considered, need to be dispensed with a matter of urgency, or as a matter of urgency. The County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, also originating from the Senate, is coming up for first reading, as well as the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, a bill also originating from the Senate and sponsored by the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. This afternoon, also part of the business that has been set aside for consideration by the Senate as they convene for this special sitting. They will be considering the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 10 of 2025, moved by the Vice Chairperson Mediation Committee. Now, you will recall that this Mediation Committee was co-chaired by the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget from the Senate, Honorable Ali Roba, with his counterpart from the National Assembly, the Chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, Honorable Samuel Atandi. And there is a report that came out of those particular deliberations. This is with regards to the monies. The Division of Revenue Bill provides for the monies that will be sent to the counties, the equitable share from the budget, how much the counties will be getting in the coming financial year, the next financial year, that is 2025 2026 that will be beginning from 1st of July this year. Initially, you will recall that the senators had proposed that the monies be set at 465 billion shillings. That is an additional of 60 billion from where the National Assembly had proposed, that is 405 billion. Now, this bill was published on 12th of March 2025, and it is a law that provides at least 2 months to the end of the financial year. So you can see that the time is running out for the senators, and that is why there is particular special sitting coming up. But that is the Speaker of the Senate, who has already made his way into the chamber, Honorable Lamason Jeffa Kingi. Allow me to hand you over to the business of the day.
Tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tukusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka, sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuitwa kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Tunakuomba utuwajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao mzikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, we have quorum. Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Well, the prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, the House is facing a quorum hitch. Senators are yet to make their way into the chambers. As provided for understanding order number 39, at least 15 senators should be present after the prayer is said and the chair taken. That would make the House be able to commence its sitting. However, if that is not present, then that would necessitate the quorum bell that is currently underway. On our screens, what we have just seen, those are still empty seats yet to be filled. At least 15 senators, that is the number that we are looking at. Even as the quorum bell is underway, that is just an allowance, as well as a call to the members who may be within the precincts of Parliament, but yet to make their way into the chamber, to hasten their steps, at least to be able to get into the chamber and enable the House attain or raise that much needed quorum. But as we can see, we are yet to at least get to that particular number. At least one senator is already in the chamber. We are hopeful that as the bell is on, at least 14 other senators will be able to get to the chamber. Remember, this is a special sitting. These senators had proceeded on a short recess beginning the 13th of June. However, due to matters that are of urgency, and of course with the concurrence of the leader of the majority party and supported by a good number of the senators, this particular special sitting passed for them to be able to convene this afternoon. However, that number of senators is yet to be raised, and as is the rules that guide the House, if at the lapse of the 10 minutes, a further 5-minute quorum bell will be on. and at the lapse of the second quorum bell, if the House will not have managed to raise that much needed quorum, then the House risks being adjourned. So we are hopeful that with this particular special sitting being convened, and of course the Gazette notice circulated, at least to inform all the senators to avail themselves for this particular special sitting, then the quorum will be raised. The business that is set aside to be considered this afternoon are three money bills that will be read for the first time, or will undergo through first reading. This comes as the 2024-2025 comes to a close. Also, the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue, Bill 2025, will also be considered, and any other urgent business or message that may have been received from the National Assembly or a county assembly will also be considered this afternoon. We have just seen the Majority Whip, Honorable Boni Halwale, also has made his way into the chamber. Remember, he is the Majority Whip. So at this point, the leadership of the House is expected to whip members to be able to get into the chamber. A third senator has also walked in, that is Honorable Dan Manzo, has made his way into the chamber as well. Remember, we are looking at at least 15 senators to be able to get to the chamber. What currently is underway is a quorum bell. This is just to alert the senators who maybe be within the places of Parliament that the House is about to commence. However, due to the quorum hitch, the business cannot commence, and that their presence inside the chamber is highly required. We shall go back to take a look at the business that the members of the Senate, as they convene for this special sitting, will be transacting. The report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill. This is a mediation committee that was co-chaired by the chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, the Senate chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, Honorable Ali Roba, together with his counterpart from the National Assembly Budget and Appropriations Committee chairperson, Honorable Samuel Atandi, of course, to come to consensus on the monies that the counties will be receiving in the next financial year, that is the 2025-2026 financial year. Now, as per the law, at least 2 months to the end of the financial year, there shall be introduced in Parliament the Division of Revenue Bill, which shall divide the revenue raised by the national government among the national and county levels of government. And you will recall that the senators had proposed that the devolved units receive at least 465 billion shillings, but that was far too high from the proposal that was coming from the National Assembly at 405 billion shillings. And therefore that needed that particular mediation committee to come to a consensus on how much the counties will be receiving. Just to inform you that the House is about to commence its business. We just have a quorum hitch, and therefore the quorum bell is for members to be able to make their way into the chambers. This is a special sitting that has given an opportunity for the members to either attend in person. As we can see, members have already gotten to the chamber, but also has provided an opportunity for the members to also follow on the proceedings in hybrid or virtual. So this is a hybrid sitting. Those who may be within the chamber who have availed themselves in person, or those who may choose to attend to the sittings via Zoom also will be able to follow up on these proceedings. So we shall also be waiting to be guided by the Speaker on what numbers those who participate or those who are participating via Zoom will be, and those who may have come to the chamber in person also will be, at least for the House to be deemed to have attained that much needed quorum. So if you're just joining us, is that this is a special sitting that the senators have convened. The Senate had proceeded on a short recess. However, due to matters that have been termed urgent or of urgency, then that requires them to at least forfeit a day of that particular short recess to avail themselves and perform their duty. So as that bell is on and as we continue counting the number of members who are getting into the chambers, we shall also be waiting to be guided by the Speaker on whether the House may have achieved that quorum or will have achieved the quorum with the numbers of the senators that will be attending via Zoom. So we shall continue taking a look at the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue. Remember, this is a bill that needs to be concluded on as soon as possible. Of course, such kind of money bills need to be done with or dispensed with much earlier before the commencement of the next financial year. The Speaker has directed that a further the quorum bell continue just to see whether members will make their way into the chamber. Yes, as we can see, that is the majority whip. At this point, that is the time the majority, or rather the leadership, is required to be able to whip their members from both sides to make their way into the House. The majority whip has just walked in with Muranga Senator Honorable Joe Nyutu, and we are hoping that the quorum will be attained from the Gazette notice that led to the sitting of this afternoon, the special sitting, is that this was on the request of the Senate Majority Leader and with the support of the requisite number of senators, whereby the Speaker appointed this day, Friday, the 27th of June, time from 2:30 as the day for this special sitting to be able to at least dispense with a number of bills that are, or a number of matters that are of urgency with regards to the budgeting process as well as the financial year. So we shall be waiting to see whether the House raises the quorum as well as what the Speaker will guide at the end of it. The Division of Revenue, the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill. Remember, the National Assembly already considered this particular report, pegging the monies at 415. However, this is the money that was agreed upon during the Mediation Committee. Members of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget from the Senate, as well as members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee from the National Assembly, convened for a mediation meeting to be able to come to consensus on the monies that will be sent to the devolved units in the 2025-2026 financial year. And the senators had pushed for 465 billion but the National Assembly had proposed a much lesser amount. The Speaker, we can also see the Speaker also trying to find out from the Sergeant at Arms whether there are any more members perhaps. And the National Assembly already considered and passed that mediation report. Allow me to hand you over and listen in.
We will start the day's business. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable Senators, I welcome you to this special sitting of the Senate. I regret to interrupt your recess, but this has been necessitated by urgent legislative business which requires to be dispensed with. On the request of the Senate Majority Leader, vide letter reference number SEN/MLS/col into brackets 23, dated the 26th of June 2025, and with the support of the requisite number of senators, I appointed today, Friday the 27th of June 2025, as the day for the special sitting of the Senate. The appointment was made via Gazette Notice number 85/12, dated the 27th of June 2025. In the Gazette Notice, I indicated that the business to be transacted at this special sitting shall be the consideration of the following business. 1, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2025, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bills number 9 of 2025, the County Government's Additional Allocations number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 8 of 2025, and the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, and any other urgent business or message received from National Assembly or a County Assembly. Honorable Senators, in accordance with Standing Order 33.5, the business specified in the Gazette Notice referred to above and as outlined in the order paper shall be the only business before the Senate during this special sitting, following which the Senate shall stand adjourned until Tuesday, the 8th of July 2025 at 2:30 p.m., pursuant to the Senate calendar. I thank you. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Now, Honorable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3, I received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the approval by the National Assembly of the mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025. The message dated 20th of June 2025 was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Tuesday, the 24th of June 2025, while the Senate was on recess. Pursuant to Standing Order 46.5, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 154B of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas on Tuesday, the 3rd of June 2025, the National Assembly considered and rejected the Senate amendments to the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, thereby committing the bill to a mediation committee in accordance with the provisions of Article 112(2)(b) of the Constitution. Now, whereas on Wednesday, the 4th of June 2025 and Wednesday, the 11th of June 2025, the National Assembly and the Senate, respectively, appointed members to a mediation committee to develop a mediated version of the said bill. And whereas on Thursday, the 19th of June 2025, the National Assembly considered and approved the mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, in the form developed by the Mediation Committee. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 113(3) of the Constitution and Standing Order 154B of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Now, Honorable Senators, I will, at the appropriate time during this sitting, call on the Vice Chairperson of the Mediation Committee to table the report of the Mediation Committee, which will thereafter be considered by the Senate in accordance with Standing Order 167. I thank you. I have two more messages to pass. Now, Honourable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46.3, I received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the passage by the National Assembly of the Environmental Management and Coordination Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 66 of 2023. The message dated, Honourable Senator, you may take your seat, please. The message, dated Thursday, the 19th of June 2025, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate on Tuesday, 24th of June 2025, while the Senate was on recess. Pursuant to Standing Order 46.5, I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41.1 and 142 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas the Environmental Management and Coordination Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 66 of 2023, was published via Kenya Gazette Supplement number 195 on 16th of October 2023 to amend Section 147 of the Environmental Management and Coordination Act number 8 of 1999 to permit the Cabinet Secretary to make regulations to prohibit the planting of eucalyptus trees along rivers, lakes, seas, and wetlands. And whereas the National Assembly considered the said bill in terms of Article 109(4) of the Constitution and passed it with amendments on Wednesday, the 4th of June 2025 in the form attached hereto, now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 110(4) of the Constitution and Standing Order 41 and 140, of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby refer the bill to the Senate for consideration. Honourable Senators, the message was received with a request by the sponsor of the bill in the National Assembly, the Honourable Irene Mayaka MP, that Senator Crystal Asige MP co-sponsors and introduces the bill in the Senate pursuant to Standing Order 163(2). Now, Honourable Senators, Standing Order 163 requires that a bill which originates in the National Assembly be proceeded with by the Senate in the same manner as a bill introduced in the Senate by way of first reading in accordance with Standing Order 144. Accordingly, I direct that the Environmental Management and Coordination Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 66 of 2023, be listed in the order paper for first reading. I thank you. Again, Honourable Senators, I wish to report to the Senate that pursuant to Standing Order 46(3) and 4, I have received the following message from the Speaker of the National Assembly regarding the approval by the National Assembly of the fourth basis for revenue allocation among the county governments, fourth generation formula. The message, dated 24th of June 2025, was received in the office of the Clerk of the Senate today, Friday, 27th of June 2025. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 46(4), I now report the message. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 41(1) of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the following message from the National Assembly. Whereas, in accordance with the provisions of Article 217(1) of the Constitution, the Senate determined and approved the fourth basis for annual allocation of the share of the national revenue allocation to the county level of government for the financial years 2025-2026 to 2029-2030 on Thursday, the 12th of June 2025, and thereafter referred the resolution to the National Assembly for consideration in accordance with the provisions of Article 217(3) of the Constitution. And whereas, pursuant to the provisions of Article 217(4) of the Constitution, on Tuesday, 24th of June 2025, the National Assembly considered and approved the fourth basis for revenue sharing among county governments in the form determined by the Senate and without amendments. Now, therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Article 217(4) of the Constitution and Standing Order 41(1) of the National Assembly Standing Orders, I hereby convey the said decision of the National Assembly to the Senate. Honourable Senators, the fourth basis for revenue allocation among the county governments, fourth generation formula, stands approved and pursuant to Article 217(7) of the Constitution shall be applicable until a subsequent basis for revenue sharing is approved. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Vice Chairperson, Mediation Committee. I am corrected. It's the co-chair, not vice chair of the Mediation Committee. You may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 27 June 2025. Report of the Mediation Committee on Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025. I beg to lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Co-chairperson, Mediation Committee.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Mediation Committee on Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025, laid on the table of the Senate on Friday, 27th of June 2025, and that pursuant to Article 1132 of the Constitution and the Standing Order 167(3) of the Senate Standing Orders, approves the mediated versions of the bill. I beg to move.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements. Order number 8, motion, consideration of the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025.
Co-chair, Mediation Committee.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Senate adopts the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, laid on the table of the Senate today, Friday, the 27th of June 2025, and that pursuant to Article 113 of the Constitution and Standing Order 167(3) of the Senate, approves the mediated version of the bill. Mr. Speaker, Article 218 provides that at least 2 months before the end of each financial year, there shall be introduced in Parliament a Division of Revenue Bill which shall divide revenue raised nationally between the national and county level of government. Pursuant to the constitutional provision, the Division of Revenue Bill 2025, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025 was published by a Gazette supplement number 38 of the 12th of March 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, the bill was introduced in the National Assembly, debated and passed without amendments on the 9th of April 2025. Consequently, in accordance with Article 1110(4) of the Constitution, the bill was referred to the Senate for consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, the bill provided the projected shareable revenue for the financial year 2025-2026 at Kenya shillings 2.835 trillion. This revenue was proposed to be shared as follows: the national government to share of the national government at 2,419 billion, and county government at 405 billion.01. Equalization fund at 7 billion, 852 million, and arrears to equalization fund at 2,736 million. Mr. Speaker, the bill was read the first time in the Senate on Wednesday, the 16th of April 2025. Consequently debated and approved by the Senate on Wednesday, 28th of May 2025, with the following amendments as key amendments to the bill. The projected total shareable revenue for financial year 2025-2026 be revised downwards to 2.756 as requested by the National Treasury. Mr. Speaker, the national government be allocated 2.2796 trillion, the county government be allocated 465 billion, and the allocation to equalization fund to stand at 12.3 billion, comprising of 9.6, which is 0.5% allocation to equalization fund, and 2.7 billion to be the money allocated as to take care of the arrears, which stands at almost 49 billion. Mr. Speaker, sir, the last audited and approved account revenues raised nationally be those of financial year 2021-2022 amounting to 1.920.4 trillion as different from what the National Assembly approved, because the National Assembly approved it at the last audited and approved account is standing at, for 2021. And they have since passed 2021-2022 approved and audited accounts. Mr. Speaker, sir, the amended version of the bill was transmitted to the National Assembly for consideration. The National Assembly considered and rejected the Senate amendments on Tuesday, the 3rd of June 2025. Consequently, pursuant to Article 112(2)(b) of the Constitution, the bill was referred to Mediation Committee. And pursuant to Article 1131 of the Constitution, the speakers of both houses constituted the Mediation Committee comprising of 9 members from each house. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee was mandated to do 2 things. 1, consider the division of revenue bill, and B, to attempt to develop a version of the bill that both houses will be able to pass. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to report that the committee held a total of 4 meetings to mediate on division of revenue bill. During these sessions, each side was focused on justifying why they have taken a certain position as per their proposal as passed by the respective houses. Mr. Speaker, the committee made several observations in the report that on April 15, 2025, the National Assembly approved the audited accounts of revenue for financial year 2021-2022. That's the most recent audited and approved accounts of revenue amounted to 1.9204 trillion rather than what was proposed in the bill. Mr. Speaker, the other observation that the committee made is the National Treasury submitted to Parliament revised projected shareable revenue for financial year 2025-2026 from Kenya shillings 2.835 trillion downwards to Kenya shillings 2.75698 trillion to reflect current realities of revenue performance. The other observation, Mr. Speaker, is that the allocation to equalization fund, now that the last audited and approved accounts has changed, and so will be the equalization fund provision of 0.5%, which now had to be adjusted from 7.85 billion to 9.6 billion, in line with the last audited and approved account amount of 1.9204 trillion. Mr. Speaker, the bill had proposed an allocation of arrears to the equalization fund. The committee, however, noted that this should not be provided in the division of revenue bill, since the entitlement to the fund was already covered in previous similar regulations that were passed by both houses. Mr. Speaker, The committee also noted that the proposed allocation to counties by the national government is, as proposed by the National Assembly, is stood at 405.1, which was informed by the available resources envelope given the limited fiscal space as shared by the mediation committee team from the National Assembly. The proposed allocation to counties by the Senate is stood at 465, which was informed, 465 billion, which was informed by non-discretionary expenditures to be incurred arising from national government priority policies and programs, including contribution to housing levy, increased NSSF contribution, implementation of the Dr. CBA in line with the agreed return to work formula, and counterpart funding for community health promoters and county aggregation industrial parks. Mr. Speaker, sir, considering all the counter offers made during the negotiation, the mediation committee resolved that total shareable revenue for financial year 2025-2026 be at Kenya shilling 2.756978 trillion, in line with the submissions given by the National Treasury. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the national government equitable share to stand at 2,332,376 million. That the county equitable share to be agreed at 415 billion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know within our common forum there has been discussions of better mediation capacity by different senators other than the team that was sent there. I want to assure the Senate that we mediated until the committee from the Senate realized that where we've reached, it was like trying to milk a stone, and we couldn't get a shilling more out of that mediation process. And we had to just agree for purposes of continuity for our county governments, as well as also making sure that the national government processes also continue by way of passage of appropriation bills, which not only was critical for the national government, but also was extremely critical for county government, because the passage of DORA will give way to the processing of CARA, and subsequently, which will give way on the issue of the disbursement schedule for our county government, alongside also other critical bills like county additional allocation bill, as well as equalization fund appropriation bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was also agreed that the most recent audited and approved accounts of revenue are of those of financial year 2021-2022 amounting to 1.920 billion, and that the allocation to the equalization fund to stand at 9.602 billion. Mr. Speaker, sir, the mediated version of the bill is shared as tabled, and that the committee that was sent from the Senate to mediate on behalf of the Senate and as a representative of the interests of the county government have managed to improve the allocation to county government in form of shareable revenue from 387.425 to 415 billion, which is an increase of nearly 30 billion shilling in a given financial year. Mr. Speaker, it's worthwhile to note that that is the highest in the allocation over the last 5-year period in terms of DORA increment. And Mr. Speaker, sir, the 415 we got also satisfies the condition we set in passing the fourth basis of revenue sharing formula, which was prefabricated on revenues of 415 billion and above. Then that affirmative action in the wisdom of the Senate of 4.46 billion to be shared equally among 12 disadvantaged counties that are not able to run their development program based on the revenues they're receiving, which were listed and in the wisdom of the Senate, 3 billion was approved at 405 billion shareable revenue to county governments, and should there be any improvement over and above 415 and above, then in the wisdom of the Senate, a decision was made that 3 billion be improved to 4.46 billion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to immensely extend my appreciation to the Mediation Committee of the Senate, as well as our counterpart, the Mediation Committee of the National Assembly, who we've walked this journey as we both executed our constitutional mandate on behalf of the entities we represented. And I want to also extend my appreciation to your office, as well as the office of the clerk and our secretariat team that have diligently walked that journey with us. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move and request Honorable Senator Boni Kalale to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second this very important motion. And Mr. Speaker, as I do so, having been a member of the Mediation Committee, I want to start by appreciating the Chairman of Budget and Appropriation Committee in the National Assembly, Honorable Atandi. I had never worked with this Member of Parliament before in my life, and he truly impressed me as a parliamentarian who has come of age, and he understands the position of devolution in the current dispensation of the politics and structure of leadership of the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I say this because I sat in a similar committee when the predecessor of Atandi was in office, and it was very clear, Mr. Speaker, that that chair was not in tandem with the system of government called the bicameral system, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank the chairman of our Finance Committee, who has just moved the motion, plus the vice chair, and especially the Senator of Migori. This mediation was the most difficult I've ever sat in. We couldn't agree 4 times over, and we stood our ground, and I'm very proud that because of that industry, we are able to leapfrog from 387.5 billion shillings to the current, by 28 billion shillings to the current 415, is a big, big achievement. I therefore proudly request colleagues in this House that we support this report because we have achieved so much. I want to talk to the people of Elgeyo Marakwet and the people of Embu, the people of Isiolo, the people of Kirinyaga, Laikipia, Lamu County, Nyamira County, Nyandarua County, Samburu County, Taita Taveta County, and Tharaka Nithi County, and Vihiga County. Mr. Speaker, these are counties that have not had the opportunity to have access to sufficient funds to do meaningful development over the years. But thanks to this enhancement to 415 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, and further, thanks to the decision of this House to now introduce in the fourth sharing basis formula a factor which then we called the affirmative action allocation of 4.46 billion shillings. Now, each and every one of the counties that I've spoken about, Mr. Speaker, will enjoy an extra 371,666,667 shillings, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm so happy for them, but even more so with Vihiga County, my immediate neighbors, who also happen to be my own brothers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Vihiga has truly suffered over the years. There are many projects which equally serve Kakamega and Vihiga at the same time, especially the road infrastructure. It's a shame that when you go on the Kakamega side, you see a tarmac road here, a tarmac road there, that was started by the first generation governor, Wycliffe Ambezo Paranya. And it then becomes a shame that when you come from Bushangala, Mr. Speaker, and you go down Bushangala Junction, Mr. Speaker, you go down to Shibuname, you cross the bridge at River Lukose, climb to Eregi, Mr. Speaker. The moment you reach Ishiandomba, which is the boundary between Kakamega and Vihiga, that is the end of the road. The majority of the people using this road, which then becomes untarmacked once you are in Vihiga, are the people of Kakamega. So I want to appeal to the Senator of Vihiga and the Governor of Vihiga and the MCAs of Vihiga, whereas this section of the road is in Vihiga County, but it is a key road for us, the people of Kakamega, in entering into Vihiga County through the southern part of our county, Mr. Speaker. I therefore appeal to Governor Otichilo to give me a gift for the fight we put up with Senator Osotsi in this House so that this fund could be realized. I beg the Governor of Vihiga to give me that gift by making sure that this first 371 million shillings will be spent part of on tarmacking the section of the road from Ishiandumba all the way to Chabakali Eregi Junction. Mr. Speaker, needless to say, I want to, as I second this motion, to use this opportunity to pass my condolences to the families and friends of the 15 young people who lost their lives 2 days ago through the unnecessary shootings that we witnessed, and I hope that the Minister for Interior will manage to come on top of things. I request him to find his calm. I've been following his pronouncements. He seems to have completely lost it. He must take charge and stop asking police people to shoot people when they are appearing, to appear like they are entering a police station. I second.
Honorable Senators, I will now propose the question. Senator Roba, kindly take your seat. Take your seat. And the question is that the Senate adopt the report of the Mediation Committee on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, laid on the table of the Senate on Friday, 27th of June 2025, and that pursuant to Article 113.2 of the Constitution and Standing Order 167.3 of the Senate, approve the mediated version of the bill. The floor is open for debate. Senator Mundigi.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa ruhusa niweze kuchangia pesa ambazo tumepata ya kupatia kaunti 47. Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono kwa sababu niko na furaha kubwa kwa sababu katika kaunti zote itasherekea na pia itafanya kazi kulingana vile inafaa, kwa sababu katika kaunti nyingi ilikuwa na pesa ya chini, lakini wakati tulipatiwa pesa tulisikia tumepatiwa bilioni 415, na pia nakumbuka mwaka jana ilikuwa bilioni 375. Kwa hivyo kamati imefanya kazi nzuri ya kuunganisha pamoja na kuwa tumepata katika Kenya pesa ya kaunti zote 47 bilioni 28. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mambo ile tumepata ni ya kutusaidia kwa sababu katika Senate mambo yetu hapa katika Senate, mambo ambayo ya kutusaidia ndio mambo iwe katika masinani, mambo ya maji, mambo ya barabara, mambo ya elimu, mambo hata ya kilimo, mambo mengi. Tunajua magavana wetu wale wanataka kufanyia wananchi kazi, watafanya kazi ile inafaa. Kitu kingine kushukuru ile kamati ya mediation ya Senate na ile ingine kwa ile kazi wamefanya, ndio tuweze kupata hizi era. Nikisema katika Embu County, Bwana Speaker, tulikuwa na bilioni 5,300,000. Niko na furaha zile kaunti 12 zilipata pesa, na pia wale watu walileta hii mjadala ya kuongezea zile kaunti 12 pesa walifanya kazi nzuri, nikiwa mmoja. Na pia tumeongezewa katika Embu County ambayo imekuwa na shinda ya pending bill na wage bill. Bwana Speaker, tutapata milioni 600. Kwa hivyo milioni 600 na zile zingine tutakuwa katika mwaka huu tunaanza mwezi wa Julai tutakuwa na milioni 6. Kwa hivyo yangu ni katika county ya Embu. Gavana ambaye ni Cecily Mutito Mbali, tunakuomba hii pesa ikikuja masinani uweze kupunguza mambo ya madeni, uweze kufanya kazi ya barabara, mambo ya maji na pia mambo ya kilimo na mambo mengi, ndio uweze kusaidia watu wa Embu County. Pia na kuomba gavana, najua kuko na sinda ya hela, ile pesa mnaokota, ningekuomba wakati huu ndio mwananchi asiweze kulia tena na asiweze kuleta shinda, usiongezee ndio ule usuru ya county. Wale wamekuwa wakileta shinda kama business communities waweze kufaidika, ndio ile mambo ya tax iwe chini. Kitu kingine naomba ni ile mambo ilifanyika juzi, ni pole kwa wale watu ambao walipata shinda kwa sababu ya maandamano, na tunajua mambo ya maandamano, Bwana Speaker, inaruhusiwa, na mambo ya kwenda kuomboleza inaruhusiwa kwa sababu ni democracy. Lakini mambo ya ajabu ile ilifanyika katika Embu County, ni pole kwa business community kwa sababu KRA vitu yote iliporwa yote. Pia Safaricom vitu yote ilienda. Pia huko Embu mambo ya Madhai supermarket kila kitu yote ilienda. National Social Security Fund kila kitu yote ilienda, na pia National Bank iliporwa. Kwa hivyo ningeomba naomba tukiwa kutakuwa na maandamano siku nyingine, kwa sababu ni mambo ya demokrasia, sikusiwe kunatokea mambo kama hiyo. Kwa hivyo Bwana Speaker, visa ile tunaendelea kuongezea pesa ya county. Tunahuzunika sana kwa sababu tunaona mambo mengine ya maandamano, watu wakienda kudemonstrate kwa sababu ya haki yao, kumeingia wataberi, kumeingia wezi, na wanalete vitu ambaye haifai. Kwa hivyo wale watu walifanya ile kitendo. Tumeona wakati huu ambaye Gen Z wengine wako na maroni, wako na pesa. Tumeona watu wengine kama Embu vitu imeimbiwa, tumeona hapa Nairobi. Kwa hivyo nataka kusema siku ya Jumatano ilikuwa ni mambo ya kwenda maandamano ambayo inafaa, lakini baadaye iligeuka ikawa ni kama imeleta shinda katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Bwana Speaker, ni kama ilikuja ikatoka, ni kama watu wengine waliingilia hiyo maneno, ikawa ni kama wanataka kumpindua hii serikali ambayo inajaribu kulainisha mambo ya economy recovery katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono, niko na furaha kwa ile kazi imefanywa na watu wa mediation na pia na maseneta. Asante sana maseneta, ile kazi mnafanya kupigania ukatusi. Ingawa nilisikia MP wengine wakati walikuwa na debate maneno walikuwa na pinga, lakini asante kwa ile kazi seneta inafanya. Bora tu naomba magavana wote 47 tafadhali msikumbali kutuleta down. Sisi tunaunga nyinyi mkono, mfanye kazi kulingana inafaa. Department zote na kuwe na accountability na ile mambo mengine. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi nikiwa senator wa Embu County niko na furaha, na furaha sana kwa sababu Embu County sasa itakuwa na bilioni 6 kutoka kwa bilioni 5 na 300, tumeongezewa milioni 600. Kwa hiyo watu wa Embu mungoje, na kazi najua itaendelea vizuri, mambo yote itakuwa mzuri. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono nikiwa senator wa Embu County, Daktari Alexander Munyi Mundigi. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to make my contribution. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the chair of this committee from the side of the Senate, Honorable Senator Roba, for leading the team from the Senate, me included, into this negotiation in a very efficacious manner. I also want to recognize the efforts and the attitude that was put in from our colleagues on the National Assembly. I acknowledge the work that we put in all those 4 meetings. Mr. Speaker, many times when you are watching a football match or a basketball match as a spectator, it's always so easy to say, this should have moved the ball this side, he should have passed the ball this side, he should have scored that goal. But Mr. Speaker, it is only the person who is playing inside there who really knows what is happening. And all the time the spectator who is outside believes that he would have done better, or the player should have done better. Mr. Speaker, the truth of the matter is that when you are inside there, that's when you know how difficult the matters were, how hard, how tired the players are. You need to be a player for basketball to know that even LeBron James would ask for a substitution, Mr. Speaker. Even what we call King James in basketball, he would ask for a substitution because he's the one who knows how it is inside there. So, Mr. Speaker, when we went for the first meeting, the Senate was very adamant that we must be given the 465 billion that we wanted. On the other hand, we had the National Assembly who had come with a figure of 405.1 billion. And Mr. Speaker, we had extremely good arguments to say how we need this money for this, we need this money, the counties need to do this and the other, we need to, and all of you come from the same counties that we are fighting for this money. Mr. Speaker, equally, the National Assembly was telling us of the need to balance what the counties require with the fiscal space that is available. So, Mr. Speaker, we went up and down. Then we reached a figure of 410 billion that the National Assembly made a move. And we, on the side of the Senate, we had come to a point where we said, at the very minimum, it is going to be 420 billion. And Mr. Speaker, there was what you call a deadlock. The Senate is on this side and the National Assembly on this side. We are trying to reach an understanding. And Mr. Speaker, at the end of it, after 3 meetings, we had to adjourn, discuss, talk as colleagues, visit each other and convince each other. And Mr. Speaker, we want to ask our colleagues that those of us who are in there, we were the ones who are going up and down, trying to find a way forward. When finally the figure was agreed, Mr. Speaker, at 415 billion shillings, it didn't come easy, Mr. Speaker. It didn't come like a drop of water, Mr. Speaker, a drop of the rain. There was a lot of negotiation. There was a lot of backroom discussions. And Mr. Speaker, we were also aware that our counties need this money like yesterday. Some of our counties, Mr. Speaker, have gone without salary for the last 3 months, Mr. Speaker. Some of our workers. And so, Mr. Speaker, we looked behind and said, we will be able to achieve the goal of affirmative action at 415 billion. We will be able to achieve the goal of no county will get less than the amount that they did before. This is what we saw. And Mr. Speaker, when finally the figures came up to 415, we felt, Mr. Speaker, that we do not need to drag this thing further. So under the leadership of the Honorable Senator Roba, we were able to reach out to the other side under the leadership of Honorable Atandi, and the deal was done. So I want to thank so much the mediation committee, which I was part of, Mr. Speaker, so I know what we went through. Mr. Speaker, I thank all the members who participated, and I thank all the members for sacrificing their recess and sitting there on our behalf, Mr. Speaker, and the results they have given us, which has ensured that the counties that we wanted to protect have received something in addition. Because of the affirmative action we agreed in this very house that we shall give those 12 counties. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to all our colleagues that we support the decision that we have achieved so far. Mr. Speaker, I don't need to belabor the point that we have, in these 4 days of the committee meetings, the mediation meeting, achieved something like 28 billion increase, which is the highest increment we've received. 28 billion, which is the highest increment we have received, Mr. Speaker, in many years that have passed. It has always been an increment of 1 billion, 2 billion, but in this particular case, we have been able to achieve a good leap. So I want to urge colleagues listening to me that this committee did some good work, and I really want us to appreciate their work by supporting this bill. But, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to sit down and leave it there. But I want to emphasize something, and I want us to learn from America. Mr. Speaker, people tend to think that some of these departments cannot be abolished at the national level. And yet it is possible, it is doable. Why can't we abolish the Ministry of Health at the national level? Clearly, Mr. Speaker, this function has been devolved to the county level. Why are we still keeping money at the national level? Why? Mr. Speaker, when President Trump took over, like him or don't like him, the man makes decisions. He abolished the Federal Department of Education. And people were shocked, what is happening here? But he did it. Now, people can make decisions at at the state levels on how the education system should function. Health, Mr. Speaker, I keep coming back, in Kenya is devolved. Now, those billions that are still at the Ministry of Health should come down to the counties, Mr. Speaker. Should come down to the counties. And even as we approve this, we want this to sink to those people sitting at the headquarters in health, that this mandate is a county mandate. And Mr. Speaker, many other functions have been devolved, and the national government is still holding on to them. I am requesting the President to think seriously about abolishing, take bold steps, abolish some of these departments at the national level. Like health, it must go, so that the funds are released to the function. Mr. Speaker, today, we are celebrating 415 billion going as the equitable share to the county government. But, Mr. Speaker, if we abolished some of these ministries at the national level, we would be able to save more billions that will be released to the county governments, so that our counties are able to function properly from the equitable share they have received. We were talking here, Mr. Speaker, as a Senate, and we said that some counties are merely employment bureaus because they are not able to function properly, their development vote is negligible. And why? Because the national government continues to hold on to functions that are supposed to be functions for the county governments. So as we approve this, Mr. Speaker, and as I urge my colleagues that we approve the mediated version, we want to send a message to the national government that don't hold into what is not yours. It will cause you problems, all the time problems. For example, now, if you look at the payment of these workers who are working in our villages, the health workers, you are told national government pays a half, the other side is paid for by the county. How is that? How do you have two employers? How does it work that you are having one paying this amount, one paying the other? Why should the national government hold on to that? Why can't you surrender that function properly to the county government so that somebody knows my little money comes from this employer? I wonder, even when you have functions like these industrial parks that are being created, when you hear that the national government will give 250 million, the county governments to give 250, the moment you bring two entities to manage, there's a problem. Why can't you leave it all to the county governments to deal with those matters? Mr. Speaker, even counties that were supposed to develop their headquarters, they were supposed to be assisted. The idea was initially a very noble idea that 5 counties did not have good county headquarters, so they were supposed to be assisted by the national government. Just that line of saying national government contributes and county government contributes, that model has not worked. None of the 5 counties to date have been able to construct their headquarters, Mr. Speaker, because of those double, here there's a boss, here there's a boss. This should not happen going forward. And we should start by taking a bold step saying, Ministry of Health, we abolish this at the national level. Let everything be devolved. Let the money come down. And if they must stay there for coordination, let some very little money, it must be absorbed under another department so that we all know that these funds that used to reside in that ministry at the national level has come down to the counties. Mr. Speaker, so I want to urge colleagues who are listening to me that, you know, all these matters, we put them there. We debated all these matters. Do not imagine that the team that was there did not engage. We fully engaged. We would sit from midday all the way to 6 p.m. We fully engaged in all these arguments. But, Mr. Speaker, looking at the fiscal space and the way we managed to push up here, up there, down here, down there, the figure of 415 billion should be supported. And I thank the National Assembly that they have already dealt with their bit. Let us deal with our bit so that the funds can be released to our county governments and they continue to function. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to support the mediated version of the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator John Otu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support this particular report as submitted by the co-chair of the Mediation Committee. And Mr. Speaker, like those that spoke before me have said, we would have wanted to give our counties much, much more than 415 billion. But then, Mr. Speaker, we must appreciate that we are getting 415 billion from 385 billion. So an improvement of about 30 billion must be appreciated, Mr. Speaker. It is true, like the co-chair said, that we thought that they could have been able to negotiate for more. But we appreciate the fact that negotiation of any kind involves it's a give and take matter, Mr. Speaker. And so I want to thank the committee, the mediation committee, for the figure that they were able to squeeze out of the national government of 415 billion. The biggest question now, Mr. Speaker, will be whether once this House comes up with a disbursement schedule, whether then the National Treasury will abide or will follow that particular disbursement schedule. Because we have been having challenges with counties, not because we have not been able to allocate them amounts that can help in delivery of services at the county level, but because there are delayed disbursements, which is the next thing that these houses should push for, so that disbursements are made according to the schedule that we are going to come up with, Mr. Speaker. While at that, we must also tell our governors, the 47 of them, that the enhanced amount must be used more for development and not on labor, on wage bills, Mr. Speaker. Because we have almost every other county, none has been able to abide by the 35% requirement, because, Mr. Speaker, they are required to maintain the wage bill at 35% of their total resources. And, Mr. Speaker, I request that you may ask the minority whip and the chair of the mediation committee to also give us some peace so that we can be able to prosecute our issues. So, Mr. Speaker, the disbursement schedule will be very important. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is that these governors must be able now to invest more in development than wage bills and other unnecessary matters. Not to mention that they also need to look at pending bills and see to it that they clear those that they owe, so that the same can start trickling back to the counties for more development, Mr. Speaker. We must tell rogue governors who think that when these amounts of money are sent to them, that they can spend or expend the same for purposes other than those that serve the people of the counties that they are elected to serve in. Mr. Speaker, a case in point is one governor, and that is none but the governor of Nairobi, who has in public said that he is not going to allow, that he's going to protect Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. We want to tell such a governor that these funds that we have worked so hard to negotiate for them must be used for the good of the people in their counties and not for any criminal activities. Goons must not be financed from the amounts that we have negotiated for these counties, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
what is the point of order, Senator Mandago?
Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to interrupt my good friend, the Senator from Murang'a, but understanding Order 105 as a statement of fact, can the Senator from Murang'a provide evidence that the governor for Nairobi has used the funds for Nairobi to pay goons? Honorable Speaker, we have not even released this money. We are just debating on what is going to be shared, and the governor, the Senator is making statements that I believe are not of fact. Can he provide evidence to the same? Honorable Speaker, the governor for Nairobi is within his rights to protect the property of the business people in Nairobi. We have witnessed the destruction that is happening. Business people are losing their capital. Honorable Speaker, wouldn't it be the responsibility of the governor to ensure there is a thriving, conducive business environment? And the governor should then use the necessary resources and available means to make sure that the businesses are protected, because that is what creates employment. The biggest problem we have in this country is unemployment. How do we destroy what we have in the pretext of...
You've made your point of order known. Senator Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the former governor for Uasin Gishu, I think he still suffers from the hangovers of having been governor in Uasin Gishu. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, he forgets that he's a senator who is supposed to defend devolution and counties and not to defend other governors.
And then the point of order raised, Senator Newton, you've made an assertion to the effect that the governor of Nairobi is using resources to pay goons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do you have evidence to that effect? Can you substantiate that statement? If yes, proceed to substantiate. If you are unable, you may have to proceed to withdraw that statement and apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the guidance. I think I did not say that he's paying goons, Mr. Speaker. What I said that, and it is in public domain, that the governor for Nairobi has said that he's going to protect Nairobi against demonstrators. And that is something, Mr. Speaker, that is in public domain. And there cannot be any other way that a governor can protect his or her county other than using goons, because the governor, any governor, does not have any police under their command. And Mr. Speaker, I would therefore not be very wrong to assume that any governor that says that they are going to protect their counties physically...
Senator Nyutu, let's make this very short so that you proceed with your wonderful intervention on this report. You have made that assertion. The answer is there.
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
Substantiate or withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, then I withdraw. Let me just continue. Let me just, the senator for Kakamega wants to inform me.
Let's dispense with this point of order first.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Speaker, then I withdraw. Let me continue. I was just advising governors, not just the governor of Nairobi, to expend amounts in a way that helps their constituents, and not in a way of showing bravado and spending their monies in matters that actually are not even important for their people, and not to overstep their mandate. Mr. Speaker, we must also ask the national government, which in this particular mediated version is going to retain over 2.3 trillion Kenya shillings, Mr. Speaker, that these amounts also must be expended in the right way, must be expended in a way that is of benefit to the country, Mr. Speaker. We are disturbed that we find those serving in the national government, Mr. Speaker, carrying money in sacks every weekend, every weekday, as they go about even programs that are not known in law, like empowerment programs, Mr. Speaker. And we want to believe that these amounts are spent from the allocation that is made. So, Mr. Speaker, we would also want to call upon the national government to spend the amounts allocated to them in a way, Mr. Speaker, that, for example, creates jobs for our youth, improves health, because they are retaining amounts of money at the national level, just like Senator Mongatana submitted here, Mr. Speaker. And so we are saying, let the national government, and Mr. Speaker, you know, we cannot divorce ourselves from what is happening in the country as of now. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have had very many losses, loss of life and loss of property, destruction of property, especially on the day before yesterday when there were protests, Mr. Speaker. And we would have wanted to see a situation where public funds are spent in protection of life and property, Mr. Speaker. And on this, I also want to call upon the national government, probably to invest more. If they need more police officers to maintain law and order, that then such is done, instead of failing in their duty and then blaming particular people and profiling some communities on something that is of national importance. Let us have more police officers, that is what we need, because the allocation has been made. Mr. Speaker, let us invest more in intelligence and to avoid most of the things that we are seeing here. And Mr. Speaker, we must also say that because we have had some very unfortunate happenings in our country, I think in the last about 72 hours, that we condemn in the strongest terms possible any loss of life, any destruction of property, because, Mr. Speaker, we must call some of these things out, because this is not the way to go. And we must call upon the CES for Interior, that we must be more responsible, Mr. Speaker. He appeared in this house just the other day about a killing, and Mr. Speaker, all of us are very disturbed to hear the CS calling on the police to shoot, to kill, giving them an order to shoot and kill, and even referring to some other authority above him, and we do not have to be very smart to know what that authority is, Mr. Speaker. And so we are saying that this is our country. All these monies that we are allocating to the counties, if there is no peace in the counties, then it will all be in vain. The national government must ensure that every person is safe, that every business person is safe, and they must not hide in the sand and blame somebody after things have been done. We have national intelligence services. They must be able to unfoil anybody, any plan to destroy life or property. For them to come and cry crocodile tears, Mr. Speaker, that is not something that we may want to allow. And it is important, as I sit down, Mr. Speaker, in support, to say that we live in this country, we exist in this country, not at the pleasure of anybody, Mr. Speaker. We are here because God placed us here, and we have a right to be here. We may serve in the cabinet at the pleasure of somebody. We may serve in the president in some appointments at the pleasure of somebody, and that is especially the president. But we do not live in this country at the pleasure of the president or at the pleasure of anybody else, Mr. Speaker. We live here because God placed us here. Let us build a good country for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support this particular version.
Senator Tabitha Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to also extend my appreciation to my colleagues whom we were with during this mediation process for the Division of Revenue, led by my Honorable Chair, Honorable Boni, Senator Mungatana, Senator Eddy, among the other team. During this recess period, Mr. Speaker, most of us who are in the mediation committee also are members of the Finance and Budget Committee. And we had presented before this House a proposal of 465 billion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a journey that we had closely embarked on. We had the proposal by CRA, Mr. Speaker, which was almost amounting to 430. And during our proceedings in the committee, at the committee level, we had different stakeholders, Mr. Speaker. And they had different proposals. And actually, the governors, through the COG, they had a proposal of about 536 billion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for us to have proposed the 465, it was not just from the blues, but we were guided by the facts as far as the key issues were concerned, starting with the issue of the housing levy, Mr. Speaker, deductions which amounted to a need of 4.1 billion. We had also the needed, as Honorable Mungatana has talked about, the issue of the KIPES issue. And the KIPES issue amounted to about 11.8 billion, Mr. Speaker. An issue that, and a proposal that required the intervention or the teamwork between the county government and the national government. And these are proposals, Mr. Speaker, when they brought about, Senate was not involved, among other stakeholders. And during our discussion and our mediation process, Mr. Speaker, we were actually able to agree that we remove this budget of about 11.8 for the KIPES. As we speak, about 18 counties have started or have benefited partly with what the initial allocation. And we say the other counties can wait so that we prioritize these budgets for the 18 counties that have commenced the KIPES construction so that they focus on the completion. These are some of the figures that we agreed and said we can remove the KIPES project allocation of about 12 billion, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, the issues of enhanced NSSF contribution, which amounted to about 6 billion, the issue of CHPs, which amounted to 3.2 billion, Mr. Speaker, were not so much negotiable, Mr. Speaker, because you look at the issue of our community health promoters, it's an agreement, you know, a 50-50 agreement between the national government and the county government. And our young people, especially the young women, most of them work as CHPs. And so they needed to be really factored, Mr. Speaker. Annual wage increment, Mr. Speaker, it's within the law. The other critical thing was the basic salary increment as per the doctor's CBA, which amounted to 3.5 billion, Mr. Speaker. We've seen through and through our health sector, professionals, all cutting across, Mr. Speaker, demonstrating and surrendering their petitions before this House. And their petitions were highly on the financial matters. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, adding the figures that I've just talked about, we as a committee, and a committee representing the upper house of the Senate, we moved in the mediation and had agreed that we cannot go below 420 billion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, when we were undertaking this mediation process, it was not really an easy tackle discussing with our respectable colleagues from the National Assembly, whereby they moved in and stood at 405 from the beginning. We started moving down from 465 up to almost 430, and they moved not an inch, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, how that discouraging can be when you've come to a table to mediate and have a common goal for the interest and the common interest of our people, Mr. Speaker. We walked in, we walked out. We came in, we came out. And all senators were on one voice, Mr. Speaker. Before we embarked on our last meeting, Mr. Speaker, which my mind remembers very well, we had a condition. And we said clearly, if the National Assembly will not move an inch higher, because we left the meeting when they had moved to 410, and the indication and all indicators indicated that they were not willing to continue with the process, and sort of this process was to end at 410. And so we also stood firm and said we will not embark on any further mediation if they won't move an inch. And through our firm decisions, Mr. Speaker, long story short, we were able to conclude at 415, Mr. Speaker. 415, not just 415,000, not 415 million, but 415 billion. Mr. Speaker, sometimes when I talk about these figures in terms of billions, I'm not so happy. We talk about billions, and we've increased 28 billion to the county government. But the thorny issue, the biggest animal in this country, the pending bills, Mr. Speaker. We've increased these funds because of the issues that the governors have raised. This money does not go to the governors, by the way. It's for the devolved functions, Mr. Speaker. When our young people keep on hearing us talk about billions on this floor. The other day I saw the people of Nairobi waking up as millionaires and sleeping in the evening as the most poor people, Mr. Speaker, from a millionaire to the most poor person because their businesses were brought to zero, Mr. Speaker. When on this floor, we talk about the billions that we've given to each and every county, the lowest county is receiving 3.8 billion, which is the great county of Lamu. The county of Nairobi is receiving 21.4 billion, Mr. Speaker. And still our people economically are having challenges because money is not rotating, especially because of the issue of the pending bills, Mr. Speaker. It has just been left to the few. I emphasize this, Mr. Speaker, because we want the governors to sort the animal of pending bills. We cannot be on these floors talking about these figures, and there is a Kenyan somewhere who's just even seeking to be paid their pending bill by the county government. We've increased a whopping 28 billion, as I've said earlier. We need to see change. But change to whom, Mr. Speaker? The education system that we have in this country, Mr. Speaker, it's a system that has empowered our young people. It's a system whereby our young people today, they are very eloquent, very knowledgeable. They know what they want. They know what they need, Mr. Speaker. The job opportunities might not be enough for everyone. But the businesses for our business people can create opportunities. These businesses can keep thriving, Mr. Speaker, if this issue of the pending bills is also sorted, Mr. Speaker. We cannot have a few being paid and the rest are suffering each and every day. How do we change this, Mr. Speaker? Then how do we stop them, Mr. Speaker, from coming out? We've educated them. They are our people, they are our young people. Mr. Speaker, if you recall, a few years ago, my memory remembers, we used to have so many strikes in the schools. Schools were being banned some few years ago. Who were banning these schools then? Where is this generation that was banning those schools? Very educated out here, Mr. Speaker. It needs to start with us as leaders, Mr. Speaker. The issue of too much politicking, too much of chest thumping is not going to help us. We need to offer leadership. At this point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are all Kenyans. That is the common denominator. We don't want to look back and start seeing ourselves like where Haiti is seeing itself today. Countries like Sudan, Mr. Speaker. This is our country. When we stand here and we are voting today for the allocation of the 415 billion to these counties, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans expect progress at the devolved level, Mr. Speaker. It is a high time, Mr. Speaker, that we show unity. When a soul is taken away, Mr. Speaker, today it's me, tomorrow it's you. And I don't think there's anything to celebrate. When parents are losing their kids, Mr. Speaker, it's not something to celebrate. When young women are being raped, Mr. Speaker, like we saw what happened, it's not the kind of nation we want, Mr. Speaker. All that is needed is money to be put in its correct use. Our mandate is for the county governments. And as a committee of finance, we've tried our best. Governors, do not let us down. Achieve the goals of the devolved government today. It is not about who has how many goons. That is not the country we want. And I want to tell my colleagues, leaders, we are not the ones who are safe. We are continuing to create a gap between the politicians and the citizens. Because what you are seeing today that is happening, the whole blame is coming to the leadership, including us, Mr. Speaker. It is a high time, Mr. Speaker. We just know that at the end of the day, this is our country. At the end of the day, these are our young people. They are growing. They are growing. They've experienced, they've tested the waters. There needs to be financial progress, economic progress, Mr. Speaker. Us as a Senate, we've done our part. Let the county governments do their part. National Assembly oversights the executive. Let them do their part. And everyone does their part. We'll continue enjoying the fruits of our 2010 Constitution, Mr. Speaker. The 12 counties, Mr. Speaker, through the formula, that through my committee, through the chair, and I had him table the same, it has enabled the 12 counties be able to benefit with the 4.46 billion, Mr. Speaker. Can we appreciate what has been given? Can the counties government, can they increase their own source revenue with the aim and target of ensuring that they reduce the pending bills? And I believe through this, Mr. Speaker, we are going to ensure economically our people are sorted, Mr. Speaker. With those few and many, I support.
Senator Abbas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues to support the report of the mediation team. Honorable Speaker, I think these are very commendable work. However, having said that, it's a very unfortunate situation. Every financial year, we're going for mediation. And this is a constitutional right for all the counties and the people of Kenya. But the unfortunate thing is that the National Assembly, our colleagues in the National Assembly, have taken these budget issues as part of their property and their responsibility. We know most of the members who are in the Committee of Budget in the National Assembly have a special budget money that they receive for their constituencies, which is illegal actually by itself. Honorable Speaker, the budget now we are using, and we're almost actually begging, for us to be given money to the counties, is the one that has 21-22. 4 years down the line, we are still using the same old budget, audited account. And the Auditor General has done it up to 2024. And therefore, we need to change this business of, basing on our equitable shares on 4 years, 3 years backwards. So at least the counties can be able to get their money. Honorable Speaker, I want to also commend the members for understanding that the 12 counties that have been receiving less money for giving them an affirmative action. However, I can see Lamu, which is actually one of our most strategic county in terms of tourism, is still getting 3.8 billion. I think as much as we say that county is small, but it's actually very important. It has a strategic position in this country's tourism sector. And therefore, I think we need to have a baseline. Despite giving them, each one getting 371.6, Lamu still is receiving very low budget. And I think we will need to look, especially in the current budget, where the reality can be added for Lamu. Honorable Speaker, counties are also receiving equalization funds. They are getting additional funds from donors and grants from donors and loans. In my county, what we're getting is about 10.5 billion, 10.6, no, 10.5, Honorable Speaker. With the CARA and with whatever is coming from the donors and loans, it's going to be about 12 billion shillings. This, I think, that can make a wonderful development for the country. But when you look at what may have been the chair of the devolution, Honorable Speaker, the amount of money that is being used for currency is unbelievable. That less money goes to development. Most of the counties, there are counties that are spending less than even 10% for development. And therefore, if this will continue, then we will not reach far. We'll be, this Senate House, the struggling hard. We were every day talking to the budget being increased. But this, whatever increase is being given, must be commensurate to development. All this money that has been increased now should go to development. So at least the people can be able to appreciate that counties are now realizing development. But what is happening is that the money is being used for recurrent issues. Even some of the budgets for development is actually, they do supplementary after they pass through the assemblies, and again, it didn't take into recurrence, which is actually prohibited. That should not happen. Honorable Speaker, I want to request the Committee of Finance to review the BVM Act. Because if this House, every day we're struggling to give money to the counties, and we cannot control it again, then it's actually, we're doing a futile undertakings. Because if this same money cannot be controlled by this House, and it cannot be justified, because every time, if you look at the audit reports that come from the counties, it's so worrying. Our Committee of Park and Pick Every day they are in meetings. But of course, we have no authority to take action. You have been seeing the other day, the senator for Isiolo was making a lot of concerns, taking concerns, making noise. But we could not even stop one budget for proper use of the money. So I think I'll request this House to review the BVM Act, so at least we can have a way we can be able to control the use of funds, because a lot of money is being actually wasted for other purposes. The governors have taken this money as part of their properties. This is taxpayers' money. Therefore, we must come up with a budget, with a system, that there should be a proper check and balances. The auditor is giving the report, but we cannot take any action. So this House should be able to have a way to say no money for county A or county B, because of how they have used their money, based on the auditor report. Honorable Speaker, the council has also been given money, the RLMF money for roads. I think it's 3 point something billion. So if you look at the entire things, counties are getting at least good money now. However, that doesn't mean that they don't deserve more money. One other thing, Honorable Speaker, people, the on-source resources is actually minimal again. There are no efforts being made by the counties. They're only relying on the equitable shares. And that should not happen. I think the next budget should include a certain % for every county to at least raise their own resources. Because the OSR that they collect is again being used without any accountability. And therefore, the counties collect a lot of money. So in the next budgeting, the OSR, the on-source resource funds, must be accounted for, so that this can be part of their budget. Honorable Speaker, the most unfortunate thing is we have a huge budget that is going to national government still for devolved functions, especially in the Ministry of Livestock, Agriculture, Water. There are 18 parastatals that have been devolved. Their functions have been devolved, and already it has gone through the cabinet memos have been issued. Some of them are supposed to be dissolved, some of them are supposed to be merged, but up to now, action has not been taken. And I'm sure the same institution now will be receiving again their budget. Instead of taking that money back to counties, the national government is still clicking on the same institutions that the cabinet memo has been given. And therefore, I think those budgets will be returned back to the counties. Honorable Speaker, one other thing which is hurting the economy of the people of the counties is the bendy bills. Honorable Speaker, there be no bendy bills, because if money is being appropriated, the only time maybe a county should have a bendy bill is maybe towards the end of the period before the election years. But we're having the budget, the bendy bills are increasing gradually. And then the money is already available. What the counties are doing is they're doing budgets, they have development funds, they have recurrent funds, and then always money is being used for development, and it's not paid in right time. My own county, today, we're saying it is between 5 to 7 billion. And I don't see why that money should be there by this time. I expect that money to be reduced gradually. As every year, financial year, that money should be able to reduce, but it's increasing instead. Honorable Speaker, many cases have lost their money. Many cases cannot even vent for their children. Many Kenyans have closed their business because many bills are not being paid by the counties. Therefore, we want this House, this Senate must help the Kenyans who have lost their properties, who have lost their money, who have been, they are the mercy of the governors. Governors don't even care about it now this time. There are so many. One county alone has 146 stall projects, Mr. Speaker. 146 stall projects. I don't understand how. Why should you be having 146 stall projects in a county? Why do you want to do things haphazardly? If you cannot complete it, then you don't need to do it. To construct any infrastructure. So, for Honorable Speaker, as much as we appreciate that the county must be given money, there's a lot of unbelievable use of leverage of money and planned development, pending bills, huge pending bills. And I think I'll request this House that we must come up with actionable plans that we can be able to save Kenyans who are losing their money, who are losing their properties, who cannot get their money, and who are going hungry today because they cannot afford to take care of their families. With those few remarks, I wish beg to support the bill. Thank you so much.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I walked in here, my first instincts were to oppose this mediated version of division of revenue between the national government and the county governments. But in our culture, we normally say, don't fight me before you speak to me. So I took the liberty, Mr. Speaker, to go and engage with the chair of Finance and Budget of the Senate to be able to understand the reasoning behind them accepting to deviate from, number one, the 465 billion that this Senate had passed, and number two, from the position that we had taken in the agreement between the party of ODM and the UDA in terms of working together, which was to be able to send 450 billion into our counties. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that the chair shared with me is a reality that in most cases, even the money which is allocated to the national government, that money is only good on paper, but in reality, that money is never there. And what I can see from the mediated version is that the national government will keep about 2.3 trillion shillings, while the county governments will take about 415 billion. The reality is that in most cases, you will find that, Mr. Speaker, the money which is allocated to national government, it is only good on paper, but the reality is that it's followed by several supplementary budgets that are never met. This is the reason why, Mr. Speaker, we have so many unpaid bills, so many pending bills that are yet to be met. Mr. Speaker, if there's one person who is very happy today, it's me. I'm happy because of only one factor when it comes to the issue of budgeting for nation building. This is the only budget in the history of this parliament that has not factored in money from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. You know, I long for the time that we can be able to build our own source of revenue and free ourselves from shackles of the Bretton Woods Institutes. I'm one of those people who do not subscribe to their thinking at all. And I'm happy that this budget, the national government, has been able to go down by 200 billion, which they were expecting to get from the IMF. And I wish that IMF do not fund Kenya. It is about time that we learn on how to live within our means. The issue of supplementary budgets is another big monster that one day this country will only grow and develop when we do away with supplementary budgets. You can have paper money, 2.3 trillion, but at the end of the financial year, you don't end up spending that money. You end up having pending bills that will end up killing some of the citizens of your country. Mr. Speaker, let me applaud the mediation committee team from the Senate for taking bold steps. Because, Mr. Speaker, I've been in this Senate now for about 7 years, and I can tell you that this is the single most increment of money that is allocated to county governments since I've been here within a year. I'm wondering, Mr. Speaker, why am I being given time? Thank you. I hope that was not intended. It was just a mistake. Mr. Speaker, getting 28 billion additional from 387 to go to counties is something which is commendable. During the last few years when we were there, when we voted 13 times to be able to agree on a basis of the third formula to share revenue between national government and between the county government, the only amount that we are able to move to is making sure that there is a base of 370 billion. On top of that, the maximum that we're able to get is an additional 17 billion within 5 years to 387. Now, we have moved from 387 to 415 billion. And the difference between the money which is being sent to the county government and the money which is only good on paper for the national government is that it is a reality. 415 billion shall be sent to county governments without undue delay and without any deductions. Now, if you compare apples to apples and you ask yourself, what happens to the 2.3 trillion that is being retained by the national government? The answer is actually in the Division of Revenue Bill, Section 5, where it says when there is a shortfall of any funds to be sent, of any revenue, it shall be borne by the national government. So county governments are guaranteed they will always get their 415 billion. But national government, you will find supplementary budget after supplementary budget, and at the end of the financial year, a lot of projects will not have been done. So this is a win-win for the counties. And these are things that we need to demystify to the citizens who contribute taxes to be able to raise this revenue. These are the facts that we need to be able to demystify for the Generation Z who are out there demanding for their rights, demanding for them to be counted. It is imperative that we now move these demands just from the national government perspective to the county governments. It is imperative that we now try, and this is why I keep on saying, Mr. Speaker, that the only time we will get it right as a nation is if we take that 415 billion that we said we're going to send to the county governments, engage the Gen Zs in constructing our roads, engage the Gen Zs in building our hospitals, in building our schools. If you go to Narrow County, Mr. Speaker, Narrow County is littered with trillion shillings worth of quarry stones that these Gen Zs can be able to go use and pave all the roads of Narrow County. If you go to Kajiado County, Mr. Speaker, when I was growing up, there were floors which used to be made using terrazzo. And then at some point, we became slaves of importing tiles. All of us, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you seated there, your house is built of tiles. But did you know that Uganda, Tanzania, they import a lot of terrazzo from Kenya? I long for the day when we can say, let us put more taxes on the importations of tiles and all government buildings to go to Kajiado County and harvest the terrazzo and build the floors. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the United States of America, when you enter the airport, you'll find that the entire airport is made out of terrazzo. If you go to the UK, you will find that it's made out of terrazzo. But you go to your airport in Kenya, tiles, and they're all imported. So the day we begin to realign our own existing resources is the day we'll end up having a brighter future, even for the younger generations. If we could then say, because I observed, Mr. Speaker, the youth who are out on the streets the other day, 90% of them were jobless. These are youth who have graduated from high school. Their parents do not have money to take them to university. These are youths who have graduated from the university. They have no jobs. But if we could then look back and have a conversation within ourselves and be realistic, the way this committee on mediation, on the division of revenue, found themselves with no other option but to be realistic, that save for the money that is going to counties, the money which is being retained by the national government may not be reality. Is the day, Mr. Speaker, that we can be able to solve problems. We must be realistic to the fact that all these resources that we are raising locally, the resources that we are saying, the 28 billions that we are now saying, let's send them to counties. When I was engaging with the chair told me something which I thought was leadership. Leadership. That it got to a point where he said, you know what? We are walking out of this mediation. And this, because the National Assembly had said, we cannot move beyond 409 billion. So when they walked, and he said, I will not reconvene. The minimum I want is 420. And the first thing that came to mind is that I remember I was seated here when the media was awash with news that the then governor of Mandera was pushing, funding people so that we make it difficult to ensure that the county does not lose money. When I sat down with him, he said, what we were fighting for at that time is to make sure that there's no county that has been left behind. When he refused to go back to the mediation committee until the money went up, what he said, even if I'm to go and sit and reconvene this meeting, the least I can be able to agree to is by making sure that small counties which have been left behind, West Pokot, I think is one of the small counties, Elgeyo Marakwet is another county, Vihiga County is another county, get affirmative action. So if you guys are not willing to increase money, out of the 4.49 billion that you're saying, that is the only thing you can do. The only way that I can sit here is by realizing that these small counties, and remember, Mr. Speaker, the chairperson is not from Elgeyo Marakwet. It's from a different county. He said, increase the money. Lucky enough, he came down to 415 billion, which took care of the 4.46 billion that was given as an affirmative action to smaller counties. That is leadership. And that is what we need to fight for. And that is the reality that we need to be talking about, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as I stand here today, I'm quite happy that the Senate, which is the House of Union, these good, distinguished men and women who went there to sit down to discuss, to defend the counties, ensured two things. One, that for a single year, the fund moved to 28 billion. That supported all our county. Mr. Speaker, as you can hear, my voice is not very good because of certain challenges. But I had to come here today to support this because I know that the people of Narok County will be able to get more money during this financial year. I know that the people of Elgeyo Marakwet, with my vote, will be able to get more money. The people of Embu, the people of Tharaka Nithi will be able to be given money. And so as the people who come to Nairobi to try and make a living will also be able to get additional revenue. So, Mr. Speaker, as I support this, I also want to make a few statements based on how we move forward. It is imperative, Mr. Speaker, that we now become cognizant of the danger that we are facing if we continue ignoring the plight of the Generation Z. Generation Z are speaking a language that most of us do not understand. Not because we do not want to understand, but because we choose not to understand. Because most of us have already lined our pockets. Most of us live in manicured mansions. Most of us drive huge cars. I'm sure there's no single senator here who does not drive a car which is less than $70,000 or maybe 10 million shillings. That's a fact. it becomes difficult sometimes for us to understand the problem that the Generation Z are facing. They're not sure of tomorrow. They're not sure of tomorrow. You know, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I read somewhere, and I was trying to write to respond to it. But I said, you know what, I will drive down to Kajiado to go to Eldam at home of this senior, distinguished gentleman called Atwoli, when he said that it's about time that we move the animals from the Nairobi National Park and move them to Masai Mara so that people can encroach into the national park. When I heard that, I was livid, Mr. Speaker. And I said to myself, good Lord, what has come of this old man? Is it that he does not see the danger caused by rural-urban migration during this time when we in the Senate are fighting to send more money to counties? And it dawned on me that everyone is looking at Nairobi as the only place to run to. So it's about time, Mr. Speaker, that we either engage and really amend the Constitution to empower the Senate more, to empower the counties more, so that we stop this rural-urban migration, or the national government takes a journey of building new cities where people can be going in. But the thought of turning the National Reserve, Nairobi National Park, into a concrete jungle is something which should not be even entertained. So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, let me once again appreciate the work of Senator Ali Roba. I have known Ali Roba for quite some time, and I appreciate his diligence, his agility, and dedication to service. Being here, if I was to come here and fight to defeat this, it will not benefit him or me. The reality is that we have to understand the circumstances that we live in. I appreciate the work that you've done in sending 28 billion, additional 28 billion to counties. And I'm quite happy. And I hope that we can continue with this trajectory of making sure that we don't factor in what comes from the Bretton Institutes. If the day we say goodbye to IMF and World Bank is the day we'll begin developing as a nation. Our laws should be and shall be determined by our circumstances, but not other external circumstances that influence the way we make decisions in this country. That is critical. Because if we have to develop legislation, if we have to make laws based on what other jurisdictions or other governments think of, there's no way we'll ever be able to move out of these shackles. I was perplexed, Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, that today I had a young man, actually, there were about 3 of them who applied for visas to go to the United Kingdom. And the decision to award that, and this was through a government-funded program. So the government of Kenya was actually paying to train those people to be able to come back here and support this country. But a decision was made in Pretoria that even if the government is funding you to be able to go to the UK and study and come back and work here, the money that you have in your account is not sufficient to support you, even if that was being paid by the national government. And then they went further by saying, we have seen certain transactions in your bank statement that you've not been able to explain. So now foreign entities are turning themselves into the work of the Auditor General of this country. It is ridiculous. So, Mr. Speaker, as we divide our revenue, let us remain local. Let us encourage on-source revenue. Let us encourage county governments to develop other mechanisms of raising their on-source revenue. Number 2, when we now come up with our foreign policy, it is about time that we also remember that it's a give and take. You know? And this issue, I hope, and I had a conversation with the Foreign Affairs PS about this issue of these young Kenyans being denied visas on the basis that there was some little 1,000, 5,000 in their account, and maybe they sold tomatoes, or maybe they sold a side hustle that they could not be able to explain. Yet the visa application, Mr. Speaker, did not say, tell us how you make your living. It was about how you're going to support your stay in the UK. So, Mr. Speaker, we must learn how to live within our means. That's number one. We must be proud of our own work. And because I've seen the red light has gone on, let me end by saying, Ali Roba and your team, I salute you, and I fully support the mediated version of the Division of Revenue Bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Next is Senator Sekirenku.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity to contribute this motion on the equitable share to counties. Honorable Speaker, I want to support this motion and say that this is a great achievement to the mediation committee led by Honorable Senator Ali Roba. And I wanted to say that I think in the history of counties and of the said Senate, to have increased over 28 billion to counties, I really want to echo this and believe that this money that is going to counties will be used in the proper and prudent manner by governors. Honorable Speaker, this proposal, as indicated before, we have debated in this House where we requested 465 million, CRA coming up with 430, National Assembly and National Treasury coming in with 4 or 5. Within the proposal negotiated amount, we believe that something must have been on the table, and there must be some war between the two committees. Honorable Speaker, it is a time we really want to know what is happening every other financial year, year in, year out. Honorable Speaker, we budget every year, but what is the impact of every financial year? In a scenario where we have functions that have been devolved, like health, agriculture, water, roads, trade, education, but again we don't see monies coming from national government trickling down to counties, because I don't think there is money that is being used yet in the Ministry of Health. We have a huge amount that is allocated health in national government, yet we are getting a very small percentage in the ministry, in the health sector in counties. What about the rest of the monies that is left in national government? Honorable Speaker, we find national government again leasing equipments to counties. You go to agriculture, we don't see anything being done in counties by national government, yet seems like it is it's a function that is shared between counties and national government. These are things that we really need to think about, Honorable Speaker. Water. Honorable Speaker, you remember that there was a request or a proposal by Kenya Kwanza administration that they will make 1,000 dams every financial year. Honorable Speaker, where are these dams? Yet this money that is going to counties will not be able to make 1,000 dams. Where are the monies that is left in national government? These are questions that we need to ask. As much as we also sent money to counties, we also want to know, because, Honorable Speaker, these functions are functions that have been devolved fully. And we have money, over 3 trillion, left in national government to allocate to each and every department, every ministry, Honorable Speaker. Education is also another mess ministry. We allocate a lot of money. We don't see full scholarship to our students. We don't have free education, as we call it. So we have a lot of challenges, Honorable Speaker, that needs to be discussed. We need to change our policies. We need to change the constitution if that's need be, because we find that we have a very big gap, Honorable Speaker. As we look at the issues where governors need to be prudent to this money that we have sent to them today, Honorable Speaker, the kind of pending bills that is realized in these counties, we don't know why it's coming. We don't know why they increase. There is additional pending bills every financial year. Honorable Speaker, and complete projects in our counties. So we have a lot of problems in our country, yet we allocate money to counties and national government as well. The recurrent, almost of every county, Honorable Speaker, recurrent is consumed completely, such that there is no money to award a staff who have gone for a duty. It is used through salary. It is hardly for us to see a county that has allocated 35% of recurrent. They are almost going to almost 50%. Honorable Speaker, this Senate has a lot of work to make sure that governors use the money that has been allocated to them in a proper way, because most of our people do business in counties, Honorable Speaker, and now they find themselves in trouble. auctioneers going to each and every person who have done to counties' homes to sell their properties with a lot of humiliations, stress coming to our business people, traders within our counties, Honorable Speaker. And yet, Honorable Speaker, we have a lot of problems again in the country. Using the same money that is going to national government, allocated to national government, going to counties, allocating or even using that money in a wrong way. That is why we have people who can manage to finance chaos in the whole country, Honorable Speaker. We don't believe it is individual money. This must be government money, either from counties or from national government. It is because we are not using the money in a proper way. Honorable Speaker, I want to support this motion by saying that the committee of Mheshimiwa Honorable Ali Roba has done a fantastic job. My county now, I'm proud that we are getting more than 550 million, 449 million more. I would really happy to see pending bills being paid, municipalities getting money, development completed. These are the kind and the hope of this house, that governors must use this money in a proper way. To get 800 and $8.8 billion, Honorable Speaker. In Kajiado, we're going to see development, pending bills paid, municipalities getting money, completion of projects, Honorable Speaker. It's very key. Honorable Speaker, this is the last year almost of our term. Probably because we only have one other financial year. And this other one financial year will be over a year of campaigns and everything. But if governors can really sit down and properly manage this financial year of 2025-2026, that is the only way they will not leave counties in trouble, Honorable Speaker. This is a very important year for development. An interrupted year, financial year, Honorable Speaker. It is important that governors sit down with their management, the executive, and within their county assembly to make sure that this financial year that they've received more money is used within the proper means. Honorable Speaker, I support this motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Lenku. Since there is no other senator wishing to contribute, I will call upon the mover to reply.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I beg to reply. And I want to extend appreciation to the senators who have contributed, considering DORA was extensively debated and there was a lot of interaction between the committee and the members of the Senate. It's nothing new in terms of engagement other than bringing the information from what transpired within the mediation for us to arrive in both houses at a common figure that is going to inform the vertical share of revenue between the national and county government. Mr. Speaker, even as the Senate tries to push as hard as possible for more money, now looking at what's happening in our country, Mr. Speaker, last year there was demonstration and a lot of destruction, and we want the government to make more money so that we can push for more money for the county government. This year, that demonstration that last year was genuine Gen Z, this year has been packaged differently and into organized crime in the name of, Gen Z, that is, sincerely speaking, a very painful thing. Mr. Speaker, I sit in this Senate and my entire flying career before I joined politics, Mr. Speaker, was in war-torn countries, Chad, South Sudan, Darfur, Somalia, Afghanistan, Congo, Central African Republic. And what I've seen in terms of what anarchy can do to countries and the way some of our politicians have tried to really get, a lot of agitation for anarchy in the country by way of sponsored hooligans in the name of Gen Z, fighting for something they believed is right, and leading to wanton destruction of properties. That will only go a long way in reduction of country's performance, spoiling the country's image, and the idea of if it is not us, nobody else should run this country. If it's not us, the country should burn, is a very unfortunate position. So, Mr. Speaker, the Senate is in a very awkward position to push for more money for counties. But the reality of government performance in terms of the fiscal space of collecting monies to be able to be shared vertically between the two levels of government, the situation is only getting from bad to worse. The committee has done its best under the circumstance to try and push for up to 415 billion, which is 28 billion shilling additional over and above 387.425 that was of the last year, where, Mr. Speaker, sir, you co-chaired and mediated to that level. Mr. Speaker, under the circumstance, the 28 billion shilling is very reasonable. If you consider that is the highest increment in a 5-year period. If you look, the last reasonable adjustment of county government shareable revenue happened in 2020-2021 when the third basis of revenue sharing was being discussed. And at that time, Mr. Speaker, sir, it moved from 316 to 370, which was about 54 billion shilling increase. Between 2021 now to 2025, 2026, Mr. Speaker, the 2025, 2024, 2025, the total increase has marginally just increased from 370 to 387.425. Now, moving from 387.425 to 415 billion, an increase of over 28 billion shilling, is commendable job under the circumstance within the country and the environment we are in, where peace should have contributed to more collection of revenues, and perception within the country in terms of how we are perceived and seen as a nation would have helped in attracting more foreign investment and help us get more sound growth of our revenues. And Mr. Speaker, as I reply, I wish to also thank the Senate for their wisdom to agree with the committee that these smaller counties, about 12 of them, needed some affirmative action within the formula. And the 415 guarantees the position the Senate approved the 12 counties to get 4.46 billion. Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply and request, pursuant to Standing Order 60, Senate Standing Orders, that you defer putting of the question to a later date. I thank you, and I reply.
Well, Chair of the committee, I really agree with you, so we defer the putting of the question until the next sitting. So, next order, Clerk.
Order number 9, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to authorize the issue of a sum of money out of the Equalization Fund and its application toward.
Next order.
Order number 10, the County Government's Additional Allocations number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 8 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the additional allocations to county governments for the financial year 2025-2026, responsibilities of national government and county governments with respect to such allocation. Senate Bills number 9 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the equitable allocation of revenue raised nationally among the county governments for the 2025-2026 financial year, the responsibilities of national and county governments pursuant to such allocation, and for connected purposes.
Thank you, Honorable Senators. Today, you remember, was a special sitting, and that comes to the head of our business this afternoon. Honorable Senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, 8th July 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.
Google ukiangalia kuna photographer alienda baharini kupiga mpicha. Akienda akakatwa na papa. So integemea ile umeenda unapitia bahari. Kuna mambo mengi unaweza pitia bahari. Kwa mfano pale feri. Feri saa nyingine imeleta shida. Engineer anashuka kwa maji, aende akarekebishe pale chini. Either propeller imeshikwa na kamba. Unaweza shuka hata kwa boat. Saa nyingine unaenda kwa bahari na